So, like I said before lunch, or during lunch, or at the end of lunch, we're doing the Capstone team presentations. These are the projects that the teams did to get their credential information technology executive leadership program that we did with CSAC. And each team got together over the last year and worked on this project. And the main goal was to give something back to all of the California counties, something that would be useful to every county, and to stretch them a little bit, and to get them to collaborate and build relationship with their peers in other counties. So we'll hear a little bit about that, but we're going to go ahead and get started with the first team, and they did a project on succession planning.
Good afternoon. David Newage, Assistant Director for San Joaquin County ISD, Roy Park, Cas Kermith, and our project was succession planning. So what we're going to cover real quick is a quick overview of succession planning itself, some issues regarding retention and staff development, and we'll close it out with recruitment. So what is succession planning? So it's kind of a generic definition. One thing I do want to mention, that the term succession planning itself has a negative connotation in a number of counties. When you use succession planning, they think that you are predisposed to selecting people to fill those key positions without going through an open recruitment. So unions, HR departments, civil service, even employees object to that terminology. So City of County of Denver had a unique solution. They changed the name from succession planning to workforce development, and magically all their objections went away. So if you do run into that, it's a marketing term, change it to whatever you want, it will make it less objectionable to anybody. So what is some of the issues regarding succession planning? There has to be an understanding within the organization itself to what are the risks if you don't have one, what are the values that can be gained by having a good succession plan, and then a commitment for everybody involved from the top down to having an aggressive recruitment policy, one they're willing to deliver on. And here you have a list of all the stakeholders. Again, it starts from the top down, from the CIO, working with the board supervisors, setting the priorities, on down to the CIO, IT managers who are actually responsible for developing staff, and then HR is the person that actually executes that. One of the issues that we heard from a number of counties is you have to engage the unions. Unions have to be engaged early and often. Some have regular meetings with the union reps, some engage them as an as-needed basis, but whether we want to or not, we have to get involved with the unions. And then, so how do you develop a good succession plan? One, you have to identify what are the key positions, who is filling those positions, and is there anticipation of when they're going to be leave, or do you have people in-house that can take over this position, or are you going to have to recruit for them? So a tool that we utilize in San Joaquin County to track this is this homegrown application, and I'm sure a lot of you already have something similar to this. But based on our budget unit, it kind of identifies a breakdown of all our employees based on age range. And if you see our red list over here, we have quite a few people in the red category. So if we were to click on that, it will drill down to a list of all the employees by position, their age, and their potential exit from our department. So we do have one person who is over 70. I say over 70 because we don't really know what his real age is. He changed his age a number of times down and up, so we're not quite sure what his real age is. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Roy, who's going to talk about retention.
Thank you, Dave. As we take a deeper dive into succession planning, we see that retention is one of the key components of the whole picture. We understand that there's not like one formula, perfect formula to capture all county agencies or individuals. So what we did was sent out a survey. Thank you for those who participated in hopes to gather information on employee goals, what the counties are doing well, and how we can improve as a county. So this is kind of a baseline of our current retention. we see that these are like 5-year increments, the pink section being people who have been with counties over 15 years, and the purple sliver is for those who've been for less than 1 year, and that's about 5%. This next section shows us that about 66% felt that they would retire with the county, so that's a good sign. This section is what prompted you to work for the county, and benefits and the proximity of your work were the top two, and work-life balance and compensation was third and fourth. So what was the least appealing to you? So this goes more along the lines of how the counties can improve. Low compensation, lack of recognition, and then third was work environment. The low compensation at first glance, it seems like it's something that is less controllable. A lack of recognition and work environments is something that we would like to focus on. And this is kind of goes along with the previous slide. So what are the likelihood? What things would improve the likelihood that you would stay? Higher compensation, provide more opportunity, and improve opportunity for advancement. Telecommuting was fourth. So in third was the opportunity for training. I want to focus on that because we feel that that would lead into an opportunity for advancement by having more knowledge, which could potentially lead to higher compensation. The next 3 slides is about staff development. So this shows that over 91% of employees feel that a staff development program is important to them in their career goals. Here we see that about 62% feel that there is room for improvement or there's a lack of a development program. So this is an important thing to recognize. And here, this is interesting as well. There's a wide range of reasons why people want development, from cross-discipline or within your own discipline, as well as wanting high salary or advancement. And I'll pass it on to Cass.
Thank you, Roy. So recruitment's already been a hot topic here at CCISDA this time around. At the OIC Lounge, it was discussed quite extensively. It was a topic on the rural counties agenda. I think the amount of discussion, we quite didn't get to it. But within succession planning, basically you do have 2 components. You have developing, in-house resources, or, if you cannot do that, then you want to go, externally. So this process involves analyzing the requirements of a job, attracting the qualified candidates from external sources to that job, screening and selecting, hiring and integrating them ultimately into the organization. Okay, and as it relates to succession planning, it'd be the part of the process that would happen after the analysis to determine the particular needs of the organization, skill sets, and so forth. So that's kind of the definition that we used as it applies to succession planning. Now, I think the challenges are across all the counties, whether you're in the Bay Area and you're competing with the Facebooks and Googles, or you're somewhat out in the exterior of the Bay Area, like in San Joaquin County. We're competing both with the counties as well as private industry, or if you're in the hinterland where maybe the resources just don't exist. So basically it's difficult to recruit people. There's great competition. The time to hire, I know within our county, and it probably applies to all the other counties, can be lengthy. So if there's ways to try to cut that down by maybe using some flexible staffing and contract services like in the interim, we've done in San Joaquin, where if we had some openings, we've kind of filled with part-time folks and so forth. They were able to staff fully to help with the succession plan as people retire and move on. I think government nowadays is probably not quite as attractive for a number of the reasons that Joy or Roy detailed there in the presentation. So we need to kind of be able to sell ourselves and the advantages of working for the government and make it more desirable to come work for us. So basically, the value by a good recruitment plan is that you're going to have It's going to help the organization have qualified employees at all levels and to ensure that as people do leave the organization, we have a successful plan. So some of the strategies are basically, we do need to outreach to a more diverse candidate pool. So some of the tools we want to use are like media outlets like the county website, regional newspapers. Some of these are more traditional. Internships with local colleges, job fairs at universities, social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, to get the word out, and professional associations and CCISDA bulletin board and so forth. Thank you. And, yeah. Yes, some of the other members of the team aren't here today, so it's just me, Roy, and Dave. Thank you.
Any questions? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything through the process that you didn't know going into it? I mean, we've talked a lot about succession planning, so is there something that you learned that you didn't know before you started the project?
I think part of it was, one of the big things was the pushback that certain counties are getting regarding having a succession plan. One of the counties that was on our team, they were not allowed to have one for a specific reason where it didn't comply with civil service rules. So, you know, it's something that each county has to deal with based on their union representation and their employee base. I think that was one of the more interesting things that we discovered. Plus, we did, what wasn't mentioned here was Millenials. There is on the CCISDA website, we uploaded a study that was done by Deloitte in 2016 discussing millennials and their impact to the workforce, since they are becoming a larger portion of the workforce now. Some of the issues surrounding them. There are opportunities for counties to target them because while they're not necessarily concerned about fiscal compensation, a lot of them, work-life balance and the ability to make a difference within the community or organization. I think those are two key areas that government can kind of exploit and recruit millennials.
I just want to add one thing, that one of the survey questions, there was only 17%. We're in the business of public service, and there was only 17% of people that was one of the reasons why they decided to work for the county. So what Dave was talking about with millennials, hopefully that changes. So it's more of a passion in public service.
Yes, you mentioned that 66% plan to stay with the county and retire. So some of the other survey questions dealt with reasons of unhappiness or why they're happy about their job. Did you do any correlation with the 34% that plan to leave before they retire, and perhaps why that might be, and is that different than the others?
Yeah, so the survey was kind of a snapshot in time with the current employee workforce. So if we were to do that survey again in 5 years, I'm sure the results would be totally different. So one of the slides had that 65% of a large percentage of the people had been with the county for over 15 years, so kind of shows a kind of aging workforce. We couldn't get a spread demographically of who responded as to how they responded, so we didn't do that level of detail. So we don't have an answer for that one.
Might be interesting to
Yeah.
One last question here. So go ahead.
Okay, one question, and that is, you messaged that it was a snapshot in time. Have you looked at how the rules related to retirement are creating a flood of retirees and the urgency for this type of program?
Well, retirement and pensions were a big driving force for people to come into county workforce. That was one of the key driving factors. We didn't really look at if that's driving people to retire or not. We were more interested to see why they came into the workforce, into the county, and if that can correlate somehow with something we can exploit later for future employment and marketing.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.